Good morning, grade 9. How are you today? So, for this morning, I just want to welcome you to the world of William Shakespeare. So, last week, if you have remember, we discussed Sonnet 18 of William Shakespeare, and that means you already know who is William Shakespeare. And based on the video clips that you have watched, you already know what would be our lesson for today, right? And I'm sure you are all excited because today we will be talking about one of the best work of William Shakespeare. And now let us start exploring one of his famous work, Romeo and Juliet. I know some of you are very familiar with this story, right? And here are the characters. So let's meet the characters of Romeo and Juliet. So here are the characters, and let's start with Romeo. So he is the son and the heir of Lord Montague and Lady Montague. A young man of about 16, Romeo is handsome, intelligent, and sensitive boy. Okay. Next we have Juliet, the daughter of Lord Capulet and Lady Capulet. She is a 13-year-old girl, a beautiful girl, and Juliet begins to play as a naive child who has thought about love, or rather a little about love and marriage, but she grows up quickly upon falling in love with Romeo, the son of her family's great enemy. Okay, next we have Friar Lawrence. So he is a Franciscan friar, friend to both Romeo and Juliet. So he agrees to marry the couple in secret in the hope that marriage will restore peace between their families. Okay. Next, we have Mercutio. So, a kinsman to the prince and Romeo's close friend. So, he accepts Tybalt's challenge to defend Romeo's honor and he was killed. Okay. Next, we have the nurse. So, Juliet's nurse, rather, the woman who breastfed Juliet when she was a baby and has cared for Juliet her entire life. So, she also acts as a confidant and messenger for Romeo and Juliet. Okay. Next, we have Tybalt. So, he is Lady Capulet's nephew and Juliet's cousin. He is a violent and hot-tempered with a strong sense of honor. His challenge to Romeo is taken by Mercutio and Mercutio was killed. Romeo then kills Tybalt. Alright? Next we have Paris, a kinsman of the prince and the suitor of Juliet, most preferred by Lord Capulet. Okay? So next we have Lord Capulet, the patriarch of Capulet's family, the father of Juliet, the husband of Lady Capulet, and the enemy for unexplained reasons of the Montague, the family of Romeo. Okay. Next we have Lady Capulet. She is Juliet's mother and Capulet's, or Lord Capulet's rather, he is Lord Capulet's wife. Alright? So Lady Capulet is a vengeful and she demands Romeo's death for killing Tybalt. And in her relationship with Juliet, she is cold and distant, expecting Juliet to obey her father and marry Paris. Okay. Next, we have Lord Montague. He is Romeo's father, the patriarch of Montague's clan, and a bitter enemy of Lord Capulet. Okay. Next, we have Lady Montague. She is Romeo's mother and Montague's wife. And here, Lady Montague, she dies of grief after Romeo exiled from Verona. So those are the characters in the story. And there you go. I will give you the summary of the play Romeo and Juliet. Okay? So Romeo and Juliet is a tragedy written by William Shakespeare early in his career about two young Italian star-crossed lovers whose death ultimately reconciled their feuding families, and it was among Shakespeare's most popular plays during his lifetime, together with Hamlet. Okay, so let's start. Long ago, in the city of Verona lived two noble families, the Capulets and the Montagues. So, for as long as anyone could remember, there was much hatred between the two families. Romeo, the son of Montague, was the only one who wanted to make peace. And Romeo reveals that he is in love with a woman named Rosaline. Okay, so this is Rosaline. Rosaline does not return his love, and Benvolio counsels Romeo to forget this woman and find another, more beautiful one. But Romeo remains despondent. Okay, so next we have one day. Romeo heard there was going to be a feast at the house of Capulet, so he decided to go, but in disguise, so that no one would know who he was. And when Romeo arrived there, he looked around the room and caught a sight of a beautiful girl that he could think of nothing else. Tybalt recognizes Romeo and is enraged that a Montague would sneak into a Capulet's feast. He prepares to attack Romeo, but Capulet holds him back, and Romeo finds out that the girl, or rather the beautiful girl, was Juliet. Juliet, on the other hand, also was in love with Romeo. Okay, they kissed, even they do not know each other. And when Romeo finds out that this beautiful girl is Juliet, Capulet's daughter, his family's enemy, he becomes distraught. And also when Juliet learns that the young man she has just kissed, the son of Montague, she grows equally upset. Okay? As Mercutio and Benvolio leave the Capulet estate, so by the way, Benvolio is the cousin of Romeo. Okay, Romeo leaps over the orchard wall into the garden and unable to leave Juliet behind. So from his hiding place, he sees Juliet in a window above the orchard and hears her speak his name, and he calls out to her, and they exchange vows of love. And that is the beginning of their love story. Romeo hurries to see his friend and confessor Friar Lawrence, who, though shocked at the sudden turn of Romeo's heart, agrees to marry the young lovers in secret, since he sees in their love the possibility of ending the age-old feud between Capulet and Montague. Okay, so the following day, Romeo and Juliet meet Friar Lawrence, or in the Friar Lawrence cell, and are married. The nurse, who is privy to the secret, procures a ladder, which Romeo will use to climb into Juliet's window for their wedding night. Okay, so the story is very interesting. The next day, Benvolio and Mercutio encounter Tybalt, Juliet's cousin, who still enraged that Romeo attended Capulet's feast. Okay, and he has challenged Romeo for a duel. And now Tybalt, kinsman by marriage, Romeo begs the Capulet to hold off the duel until he understands why Romeo does not want to fight Tybalt. And disgusted with this plea for peace, Mercutio says that he will fight Tybalt himself. So the two begin to duel. And Romeo tries to stop them by leaping between the combatants, and Tybalt stabs Mercutio under Romeo's arm. Okay? And Mercutio dies. Enraged, Romeo also kills Tybalt. Soon after, the prince declares him forever banished from Verona for his crime. Okay, so Friar Lawrence arranged for Romeo to spend his wedding night with Juliet before he has to leave for Mantua the following morning. Okay, and Juliet in her room awaits the arrival of her new husband. The nurse enters and, after some confusion, tells Juliet that Romeo killed Tybalt. Juliet suddenly finds herself married to a man who has killed her kinsman. But she resettles herself and realizes that her duty belongs with her love, Romeo. Okay? Then Romeo sneaks into Juliet's room that night, and at last they consummate their marriage and their love. Juliet learns that her father, affected by the recent events, now intends for her to marry Paris in just 3 days. Okay? Juliet hurries to Friar Lawrence. He made a plan to reunite Juliet with Romeo and Mantua. The night before her wedding to Paris, Juliet must drink a potion that will make her appear to be dead. So, in a desperate attempt to escape her marriage to Paris, Juliet fakes her own death using a sleeping potion given to her by Friar Lawrence. And after she is laid to the rest, or rather she is laid to rest in the family's crypt, the friar and Romeo will secretly retrieve her, and she will be free to live with Romeo away from their parents' feuding. Okay? Alright. Juliet returns home to discover that the wedding has been moved ahead 1 day, and she is to be married tomorrow. That night, Juliet drinks the potion, and the nurse discovers her apparently dead the next morning. The Capulets grieved, and Juliet is entombed according to the plan. But Friar Lawrence's message explaining the plan to Romeo never reaches Mantua because its bearer, Friar John, gets confined to a quarantine house. And thus, Romeo hears only that Juliet is dead. Alright? Okay. Outside the Capulet crypt, Romeo comes upon Paris, who is scattering flowers on Juliet's grave. They fight, and Romeo kills Paris. He enters the tomb, and he sees Juliet's inanimate body. He drinks the poison and dies by her side. For Romeo, he rather died than live without Juliet. Friar Lawrence enters and realizes that Romeo has killed Paris and himself. At the same time, Juliet awakes. Juliet sees her beloved Romeo, and when she finds that Romeo is dead, she stabs herself with his dagger. By killing themselves, the lovers accept that they are trapped by their fate. And at the same time, they escape from the world that has kept them apart. Okay. And here is the saddest ending. So when Juliet realizes that Romeo has killed himself with poison, she kisses his poisoned lips, and when that does not kill her, buries his dagger in her chest, falling dead upon his body. So they died together, right? So seeing their children's bodies, Capulet and Montague agree to end their long-standing feud and to raise gold statues of their children side by side in a newly peaceful Verona. And that's the end of the play. The play concludes with the reconciliation of two families. Romeo and Juliet achieve spiritual reunion in death, and their lives will be memorialized in gold as witness to their sacrifice. The conclusion seems somewhat empty because Romeo and Juliet triumphed in death, an ending that manifests the very essence of the tragedy itself. Okay, so I hope you like the story, and that is all for today, grade 9. Again, this is Teacher Mitch, your English teacher. So bye everyone, have a nice day.